Might be wondering, what in the world are we talking about? That itself is my new poem, trademark Erev Rob Klein. And in this week's double parasha, Bachar B'chukotai, we encounter the concept of Shemitah, the land, like the people, must have a Shabbat of rest, and therefore must lie fallow every seventh year. Everyone and everything deserves a Sabbath, because everyone and everything belongs to God. Our claim to land and to one another cannot supersede God's. The bizarre imagery of this psalm reminds us of this. Just as we sing to God on Shabbat, so does the land, the earth belonging to God, joins us in celebrating and honoring Shabbat. So please join us, Shiru Ladonai in song, page 131.
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בשרו מיום ליום ישועתו, בשרו הגויים כבודו, וכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נוראו על כל אלוהים.
Beautiful. Then Nigun always brings me back. So we transition now to Shalom Aleichem. It's on page 142. And perhaps this is a little bit of anthropomorphication as well. We ask the angels to come greet Shabbat with us. Let's join together. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharet, Malachei Elyon. Oy, 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 mi melech, Malachei Amelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, malachei השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ברכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. אוי 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 מי מלך, מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך, מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
In the Chanudi, we speak of Shabbat an anthropomorphic term as well. The Jewish people are analogized in the Midrash, the rabbinic literature, to the groom, while Shabbat is compared to the bride. And for our people, I think such language comes quite naturally. The relationship we have with Shabbat is truly like a loving partner. As spouses, we take care of and protect each other. And that connection enriches our lives. Every week, we cannot wait to see her again. So let's join the Chadodi, page 138, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור ודיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. בראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומאורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי. כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Please rise, face the door if you are able to. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לכל כלה, ונשמת לכל כלה, לך דודי לכל כלה, ונשמת לכל כלה.
It's my honor to ask Tina to please lead us in the lighting of the Shabbat candles.
Okay, thank you for the honor. These candlesticks belong to my mom and dad, and I grew up with them. They're from Israel, and you can't really tell, but they have kind of a metallic turquoise color to them. So I will light them tonight.
La 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav וציוונו להדליק נר וציוונו להדליק נר וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת.
Thank you so much, Tina. Beautiful candles. So I'm going to add to the chat here a reading from our Siddur. And if you have a Siddur in front of you, you can also look at it on page 145. And it's called Lamdani. It's a poem by an early Zionist, Leah Goldberg. And it really refers to, I think, or alludes to the freedom that we feel on Shabbat. It's almost like this day of freedom that we have each week. So, and it also prepares us beautifully for prayer. So please join me if you want to read out loud in your homes together. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise. As each morning and night you renew your days, lest my day be as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Let's rise for the Baruch Hu with Cantor Noah, page 146. ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך, המבורך לעולם. I'm often so thankful for the timing of the Shema to be in the very beginning of our day and the very end of our day. It's a time of so much thought and insecurity. What will my day be like coming up for the day ahead? And did I live my life to the fullest at the end of a long day? And sometimes these thoughts just keep on coming in my mind. And the Shema allows me to step outside of that and come into the moment and breathe into the present. So let's breathe into the Shema. Please join me in breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it and release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more deep breath in. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, and release. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now that we're all here together, present in this time, let's sing the Shema together, Cantor Noah.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. I want to just note talking a lot about Jubilee because of this week's Parsha and our connection to the land. And there's a striking paragraph in the heart of the Via Hafta on the land that really remind our ancestors that their place, deserving to reside in the land of Israel, was truly tentative. And that teaches us that the earth will only be good and remain hospitable to us if we treat our planet with respect as God's creation and God's domain. And we must not forget the sacredness of all things that we're connected to. So let's continue with the words of the Via Hafta together.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
You'll find on page 159 the words that are now in the chat as well. Please join me in this reading, guiding us towards the Michamocha. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, a Song of a land once ravaged by war, now quiet and content, for soldiers home to leave no more. Song of a world redeemed, song of peace. Sing together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלאכותך ראו בניך, בוקר יום לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
God love Debbie. So Shabbat and redemption are intertwined. It's a little taste of redemption every week. For Shabbat is the day of freedom and liberty from the mundane of the world, a day that's all about spirit and soul. So let's observe and protect it. The Shamru, page 160.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם.
Our thoughts turn out to those who are in need of healing. And when we say the words of the Mishaberach, we reflect on how much connection and thoughts in our prayers matter to those who are in need of healing. And we come together as a community to offer this prayer. So I invite you to add any names of those that you're thinking of to the chat box or to the comments on social media. And I'm going to read the names of those I'm aware of in our community who are in need of healing. Pamela Abraham, Kurt Brooks, Debbie Dunner, Jim Endman, Martin Finling, Herb Jaffe, Laura Mitchell, Arlene Nyberg, Bryn Pime, Sol Ratner, Wayne Shaw, Bill Cherish, Sylvia Nemiroff, Pearl Ginsburg, Mark DeVore, Jessica Israelitz. And I'll add the names that I see in the chat now. Claudia Davidovich, Lindsay Freed, Carol Koppel, Adam Ben Sharon. We hold all those names in our hearts as we pray for their healing quickly and soon. Join the Misha Berach, page 371. We think of all those as well who are battling COVID-19 and everyone taking care of those who are ill.
אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with רפואה שלמה, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Amen, amen. I invite you to turn to the Amidah now on page 164. And as we chant the Amidah, I invite you to do something that's more easily said or thought of than done. You know, in our theme of the land belonging to God and one another belonging to God, not to us. Imagine how our lives would change if we saw everyone and everything as belonging to God. Let's rise together for the Amidah, page 164.
Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
I invite you to take a moment of silent prayer before we take our seats and join together on page 1.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you. Oh, my rock, and my Redeemer.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. I want to tell you that linguistics is perhaps the primary lens through which we Jews look at the Torah. And as your educator, I have taken it to be my personal mission that every student will have no trouble pronouncing the difficult letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Our students begin Hebrew Pod in 4th grade when their beautiful minds are still forming. I see they're still forming. I see some of you on the Zoom call now. And they're able to easily learn new sounds. And I tell them, look, this is your chance. Learn how to make these sounds now before it's too late and becomes a total pain as an adult. For the love of God, it's not hummus, it's hummus. It's not Hanukkah, it's Chanukah. Act like you're a Corona super spreader. Risk releasing all that saliva into the atmosphere to pronounce the elusive sound of the letter Chet. And yet, there is one other letter that remains incredibly difficult for the vast majority of Americans to pronounce. The Resh, or the Israeli R. It is a guttural letter formed with a vibration in the back of the throat. Imagine the R in French like Paris, Paris, but even more extreme. The greatest irony of all is that, as fate would have it, all of my closest Israeli friends have a resh in their name, just to spite me, I think. Shiri, Omri, Omer, Hagal, it never ends. And then there's this week's double parasha, Bahar Bechukotai. This week, we encounter an incredible word in the Torah, which is not one, but two reshes. I find it to be perhaps the most difficult Hebrew word to pronounce ever. Dlul, which means freedom or liberty. Cantor Noah, I know you're entertained by my horrible pronunciation. Can you help us with this one? Dlul?
Dror.
Whoa, okay.
It's even easier to say drawer, but dror.
Absolutely. So, in Hebrew, there are actually many other words for liberty and freedom. Cherut, chofesh, but drol has a peculiar etymology in the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible. In the book of Exodus, drol, our word for freedom, is used to describe a formula for a potion with flowing myrrh, used especially in the Near East with perfumery, medicines, and incense. And then in the book of Proverbs, drol is a type of bird, perhaps a swallow. And I think of both of these uses of drol as giving us an image of freedom in the natural world, like free-flowing, flying free. It's the prophets, Isaiah and Jeremiah, who give us a new sense of drol, a divine proclamation demanding liberty for persons, captives and slaves. Jeremiah, known for his eponymous Jeremiads, bawling people out, uses drol as a sharp threat and a call to justice. Thus says the Eternal, you would not obey me and proclaim a drol, a release, each of you to your kinsmen and countrymen. So I proclaim your release, declares the Eternal, a release to the sword, to pestilence, and to famine, and I will make you a horror to all the kingdoms of the earth. You could say, set the stakes quite high. So let's turn to the Torah itself, which uses Drol to describe the directions of the Jubilee year, which occurs at the end of a 50-year cycle. The Jubilee represented a return to economic and social equality, as well as to environmental restoration. Lands were returned to families, farms were left fallow, and prisoners and captives were freed in that year. Leviticus captures all of these instructions in the saying, Ukratem Dro, proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. I know what you might be thinking, and you're right. The words on the Liberty Bell are from this passage in Leviticus. Speaker of the Pennsylvania Assembly, Isaac Norris, first ordered a bell for the bell tower in 1751 from the Whitechapel Foundry in London. The bronze bell weighed 2,080 pounds. The bell cracked on the first test ring. Local metalworkers melted down that bell and cast a new one right on site in Philadelphia. It's this bell that would ring to call lawmakers to their meetings and the townspeople together to hear the reading of the news. Benjamin Franklin wrote to Catherine Ray in 1755. He said, "Adieu, the bell rings and I must go among the grave ones and talk politics." Isaac Norris chose this inscription from Leviticus for the State House bell to commemorate a jubilee, in effect, the 50th anniversary of William Penn's 1701 Charter of Privileges, which granted religious liberties and political self-government to the people of Pennsylvania. The inscription of liberty on the State House bell, now known as the Liberty Bell, went largely unremarked during the Revolutionary War. And it was only after the war that abolitionists seeking to end slavery in America were then inspired by the bell's message. But what of the original statement in Leviticus? What was its intent? On this topic, my teacher, Rabbi Dr. Tamar Eskenazi, joined with clergy of various faiths around the nation in writing her own letter to newly elected President Joe Biden. She observes, many Americans consider it a call to independence, affirming the privilege of doing as one wishes, as long as it does not harm others. However, its biblical meaning is the opposite. Proclaim liberty means recognizing our interdependence and creating a socioeconomic safety net that prevents families from falling into irreversible poverty. Interdependence, the message in Leviticus, is also, I believe, one of the greatest lessons of the pandemic. Look at what has happened over the last year. Many Americans have clung to their independence. I will decide for myself what safety measures to implement. I will decide for myself whether or not I wear a mask. I will decide for myself whether or not I social distance. I will decide for myself whether or not I vaccinate. And as a result, the pandemic has now, over several waves, lasted over an entire year. The message of Leviticus did not reach enough of us. The crack on that Liberty Bell was symbolic as well as physical. No one recorded when or why the bell first cracked, but the most likely explanation is that a narrow split developed in the early 1840s after nearly 90 years of hard use. In 1846, when the city decided to repair the bell prior to George Washington's birthday, metal workers widened that thin crack to prevent it from spreading further and restored the tone of the bell using a technique called stop drilling. The wide crack in the Liberty Bell was actually the repair job, but the repair was not successful, for another fissure developed. And this second crack, running from the abbreviation for Philadelphia up through the word liberty, silenced the bell forever. No one living today has heard the bell ring freely. Now, the crack in the bell reminds me of a fascinating type of Japanese art. I'm going to attempt to show it to you right now by sharing my screen. So this type of Japanese art is called kintsugi, golden joinery or golden repair. In this art form, broken pottery is repaired by mending the areas of breakage with lacquer dusted or mixed with powdered gold, silver, or platinum. As a Japanophile myself, you can see perhaps Mount Fuji behind me, I was particularly entertained how popular this concept was in my rabbinical seminary. Many teachers mentioned, have you heard of kintsugi? What is broken can be mended. Kintsugi teaches us that embracing flaws and imperfections, you can create an even stronger, more beautiful piece of art. Now, in the same way, graduate students from Pennsylvania State University were able to digitally create a structural model of the Liberty Bell in 1999. By mending the bell digitally, they can actually give us a fairly close approximation of the original sound of the Liberty Bell. Pretty cool. So let us hear the sound of the bell as we read the Torah, this double parasha, hearing the divine proclamation of the Torah to embrace interdependence. With free vaccinations and a rising adherence to safety measures, America, God willing, is starting to shift from a mindset of independence to interdependence. Our students are heading back to school in person, and some return to normalcy seems possible. The message on the Liberty Bell is, in fact, only half of the verse from Leviticus. In full, it reads, proclaim liberty throughout the land and to all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee for you. Each of you shall return to your holding, and each of you shall return to your family. May our nation embrace the freedom of interdependence, reuniting families, and allowing us to live on our land in peace and prosperity together. To which we say, Amen. Kenny Hiratson. Now, we have a special song for you because there are actually several traditional Zemirot, songs for Shabbat. And the title of one of them is actually our phrase of proclaiming freedom. I want to try with me, Dro Yikra. And it's one of the oldest and most popular Shabbat songs, known and sung throughout the diaspora and history. And it was written by Dunash ben Labrat, the 10th century poet, philologist of the Golden Age of Spain. His name, like many of these writers, appears in the stanzas as an acrostic. And this Piyut poem revolves around the idea that Shabbat is like a spiritual haven for the Jew as an individual, as well as the communal Jewish people, and in turn brings macrocosmic redemption to the entire world, elevating our lives to a higher spiritual plane. Dro Ikra, proclaim freedom. I'm gonna add the words to the chat.
I'm curious which version. There are just a few discrepancies between a few. So it might be slightly different than what Sam is putting on in the chat. Terori kera לבני בת ואין צורכן כמו בעבר. טרור יקרה לבני בת ואין צורכן כמו בעבר. נעים שמכם כמו. Let's try that again. נעים שמכם ולא יושבת. שבו נוחו ביום Shabbat. Na'im shimchem ve'lo yushbat. Shevu nuchu beyom Shabbat. Derosh navi ve'ulami ve'ot isha aseimim. Derosh navi ve'ulami ve'ot isha aseimim. Neta sorek בתוך כרמי ששבעת בני עמי ששבעת בני עמי דרורי קרא לבנים בת ואין צורכן כמו בבת דרורי קרא לבנים בת ואין צורכן כמו בבת נעים שמכם ולא יושבת שבו נוחו ביום שבת שבו נוחו ביום שבת.
Fantastic, Cantor. Brings me back to the Middle East region of Israel. So our announcements will be led by Laura Rabney, future president.
Just do it. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Cantor Noah and Erev Sam. That was fantastic tonight. Such a beautiful evening. We appreciate both of you so much. So some announcements, a busy week ahead as always. Tomorrow night is our most important fundraiser of the year, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at 6 p.m. for the Kol Tikva's Food for Thought Gala. Hopefully everyone that has signed up has received your email today and figured out how to register and do everything that you need to do. If you haven't already signed up, please do. We're honoring the West Valley Food Pantry. It's not too late to join us because it's virtual, so everyone can join. Just visit the gala information tab on our website for tickets to bid on fabulous auction items and to buy raffle tickets. Knit and Craft meeting is this Tuesday at 7. This coming Thursday, May 13th at 7, we'll welcome our second scholar in residence, Rabbi Cookie Lee Olshin. She'll be teaching on how significantly the Hebrew Bible has impacted our modern American laws and the structure of our legal system. Wow, sounds very good. The link to join was sent out in yesterday's weekly email. We have our book club with Lisa Hanisch is this Wednesday night, so remember to RSVP to Lisa if you're attending. Next Friday, May 14th is Tot Shabbat at 12:30. And next Friday evening is our religious school family Shabbat with the kiddie board installation and the Tzedakah Teens presentation. I always love that every year. I don't know who they're presenting to this year, but I'm very excited to see. There's so many amazing programs going on at Kol Tikva, too many to list, so please go to the website and also keep an eye out every Thursday afternoon for our emails and upcoming events with Zoom links. For tonight's virtual Tzedakah box, please log on to our website and click education and then Tzedakah Teens. Let's help them meet their goal to help erase the stigma of mental illness. Thank you all for joining tonight, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Laura. Thank you so much. Great to see you. So we are still in the midst of counting the Omer. And we ask ourselves, upon finding freedom from slavery, what are we now free to do? And this question guides this period of the Omer. On Passover, we receive freedom from, some call it negative liberty, the freedom from restrictions. And on Shavuot, we gain freedom to, or positive liberty, the freedom to pursue a good life for ourselves and our community. And together with both kinds of freedom, we're actually protecting human and civil rights, as well as Jewish rights. Simply put, our freedom from perhaps the human pharaohs of our times gives us the freedom to redirect our lives and serve God instead. So Cantor will lead us. If you will please rise with her. It's on page 570.
הנני מוכן ומזומן, הנני מוכן ומזומן, הנני מוכן ומזומן, לקיים מצוות עשה, עשה, לקיים מצוות עשה. כמו שכתוב בתורה, הנני מוכן ומזומן, כמו שכתוב בתורה, הנני מוכן ומזומן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על ספירת העומר. היום 41 יום, שהם 5 שבועות ו6 ימים לעומר. Today is the 41st day, which is 5 weeks and 6 days of the Omer.
Thank you so much, Cantor. As you can see, we're getting close to that Jubilee, 50. Okay, take your seats, please. So we now think of those who are no longer with us, but their memories remain close to our hearts, recently departed. I invite you to please add any names that you were thinking of tonight, whether they recently departed or an anniversary of the death, into the chat, and I'll share the names that I have. So again, the recently departed Katie Litvak, remembered by the Litvak family. Mark Binder, remembered by the Heller, Binder Schwartz, and Johntow families. And Thelma Rubenstein, remembered by my family, the Klein family. The anniversaries, the Yortzeits of the death, are Woina Avlash, Rose Bezbek, Leo Van Diddy, Maria Bruel, Sophie Cohen, Bertha Eisenberg, Bullion, Samuel Lewis, Vic Martyr, Betty Marar, Alan Rauschman, Alan Lincoln Rauschman, Esther Rosen, Alex Sachs, Sarah Katie Soror, Barney Shane, Lou Simon, Libby Singman, Amin Alschuler Stern, Dorothy Surin, Perry Wolkov, and Bruce Sylvie. I'd like to add the name of Alan Lawrence from the chat. We say Zichronam Livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing. I invite you now to please rise the order of your mourning. If you are observing Shiva the first week of mourning, please rise now. If you're observing Shloshim the first 30 days of mourning, please rise now. If you're observing the first year or 11 months of mourning, please rise now. And if you're observing a Yortzeit, an anniversary of death, please rise now. These are the mourners in our community. We recognize them, send them our love and support as we rise as one community and read the Mourners Kaddish together. I'm going to add the words to the chat. If you'd like to follow along in your Siddur, you can find the words, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. V'amad yivrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala v'yizman kariv v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam v'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudisha B'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata b'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata v'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Say shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. May the one on high bring peace to all of us and to all Israel, to the world. We say Amen. Please be seated. Let's start the peace going around with Oseh Shalom. Put your arms around each other. Put your arms around the screen. Let's sing together.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, ve'al kol ha'olam.
Okay. I tried to make the rounds. I hope I got as many of you as I could. Thank you, Cantor. Shabbat Shalom. And just a fun note. Fun's doesn't capture it. On a profound note, with this week's parashah, we actually are finishing the book of Leviticus, and we're moving to the book of Numbers. So we say these words as we complete one book of Torah and head to the next. We say, Chazak, Chazak, Benit Chazek. Try that. Chazak, Chazak, Benit Chazek. So you can chant it. Chazak, Chazak, Benit Chazek. Be strong, and may we strengthen one another. So l'chaim, everyone, to life. Cantor Noah, would you please lead us in the Kiddush? Grab your Kiddush cups and let's bring Shabbat in.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, boreh peri hagafen. L'chaim.
L'chaim. Okay. Let's see those chalot. Yes. Okay. Let's see if more. Yes. Okay. Oh, fantastic. You went all out. Oh. Am I missing any? I don't think I'm missing. Excellent. Beautiful. Let's join the motzi.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi
Amen, amen. Te'avon. And now it's my pleasure to unmute and we can go off live stream. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.